All
Oh,
right.
wow.
Let's let everybody in. I'm just going to grab the
Let's
whole list
go.
here. Let's go. We're going to grab everyone and do that. And away we go. All right, away we go. Everybody jumping in our room here. Hey, everyone, say hi as you're coming in. Thank you so much for jumping in on our special guests training session this morning. We've got Clay in the room, Kyle, of course, Ebony, James from our incredible customer success team. Thanks, Ebs, for jumping in. Clay's here with us. Who else have we got? Haji's here, Peter's here, Stacy's joining us. Hey, Stacy, amazing to see you as always. Thank you so much for jumping in. Guys, we got a bunch of people coming in this morning or today in the US. We have an amazing special guest. So, if you know anybody in business that looks to break through their mental roadblocks and achieve a true level of success, go and get them. Bring them in here. The link is wlszoom.com/training. I'll pop that in the chat box right now so you guys can copy and paste that. Hey, Stacy, great to see you. So, it's wlszoom.com/training. And everybody's welcome to come and join us today. So if you've got colleagues, friends, partners that you want joining in on our talk this morning, that will be great. We are going to introduce our special guest in just a few moments. In the meantime, say hi. Let us see your smiley face, just like Clay's doing. Hey, Clay. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you
Keeping
too, brother.
well?
Life is beautiful.
Nice, man. Nice. Good week. Busy week.
I took my first vacation or staycation for the first time in 3 years. Just came back
Wow,
this week.
dude. That's actually huge. Well done. That's fantastic. How do you feel after that?
I'm ready to burn it down for the summer.
All right, man. All right. Sounds great. Amazing. Stacey, how are you doing?
Uh, just got a fresh cup of coffee because I had that last cup out of the pot, and you know how it's like filled with coffee grounds, because you make really strong coffee.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I'm very happy about having a nice fresh cup.
Fantastic.
Yes,
So, Matthias, you don't know Stacey, but Stacey on a fresh cup of coffee is all beans and joy, man. So
that's
that's gonna be
it,
fun
man.
times.
I don't make coffee, I
That's
make rocket
perfect.
fuel.
That is cool. That is great. Nice to see you, Stacey, as always. Macio's joining us as well. So, guys, one more time, wlszoom.com/training. If there's anybody that you think should be in this room, go and get them because we are about to kick this off. It's going to be great. So, let me, as we're now 1 minute past the hour, let me do our special guest justice. This man has created, built, and exited multiple companies, four, in fact, some into the 7 and 8 figures, which is absolutely incredible. He has created fintech platforms called Wealth Pilot. He absolutely is a leader in the entrepreneur and pioneering tech space. He is a trusted advisor to Fortune 500 CEOs. He has deep expertise in AI, which is super exciting, strategy and innovation, and he helps organize and navigate the change of business owners without losing their core identity. So this is really about winning the inner game without losing yourself, becoming a founder, becoming a business owner without burning out, and how to stay calm and clear and connected in today's fast-paced moving world. So it gives me great pleasure. We do have his book coming out as well. We have great pleasure to introduce Mr. Matthias Schmitt joining us today. Thank you so much for jumping in, man. I appreciate it, and amazing to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Walt. Thank you for the intro, and I'm so excited to be here.
It sounds great, man. Now, I know that Johan and yourself have connected. So, guys, I was saying to Matthias just before we turn the cameras on, Johan was trying to finish off a deadline. He's was still pinging away at the team this morning at 4 a.m. So it's just gone 7 a.m. here. I told him to go to bed. We'll make sure he catches up with Matthias a little bit later on. But, dude, it's so nice to have you joining us. You've done some amazing things in your career.
Yeah, I have. It's been wonderful, and
Nice.
and there's a lot of there's a lot of moments that were really tough and challenging as well. So
Yeah.
I've experienced both the tops and the lows, and this is what I'm going to share about today as well because it's so important to stay centered in all of that.
Fantastic. So I was reading that Entrepreneur Magazine actually listed you as one of the top life coaches in the world last year, top five actually in the world,
Yeah.
which is an incredible achievement, man. And I'm sure you're going to go through with this, so I don't want to kind of steal your thunder there, but getting to that kind of level where you're influencing and impacting so many different people's lives, that comes with a huge responsibility, of course, but that must be super empowering for you.
Well, it is empowering, and I've really come to understand the term humility in my life in the last years.
Interesting.
Um, that that it's it's not about me, man. It's about, a bigger mission in this world where I think that we're living in times there's so much intensity, there's so many political problems, there's so many other things, meta crises and stuff, and everybody can contribute to making this world a better place and a little bit more better. And that's what I'm here for, to support people in creating their inner harmony so that they're really aligned with themselves, they're centered in themselves, and they can then bring that out and create huge impact in the world that, yeah,
Amazing.
that
Amazing. So
supports
cool. So
everybody.
I know a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space feel disconnected, feel lost, feel like they're doing it alone and need that kind of centering thought of who they are and what they're doing. So man, I can't wait. I know you've got some slides prepared for us. So I'm sitting here with a notepad, man, and I am ready to study. So, dude, I'll turn the mic over to you. I am right here with you, and in the chat, of course, guys. Make sure you interact with Matthias and say hi, and let him know when the messages reach you and touch you. And over to you, man. I can't wait to hear.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Walt. And I'm really grateful to be here. And yeah, when I chatted with Johan and now with you, the team of White Label Suites is really amazing. So can't wait to dive in. Shall we start this? Shall we kick this off?
Let's go. Let's go. Absolutely.
Let's go. All right, all right, all right. Can you see that? Yeah, I guess you could see that.
Got you
Awesome.
there, man. Absolutely.
Cool. Let me just this control panel stuff here. Amazing. So I'm really excited to kick this off and with this group of high caliber people today here at White Label Suits. And I'd love to know from you who's totally, we were just talking about the coffee, no? Who's totally not burned out, just needs 3 espresso just to function and maybe a little holiday. And that's probably a lot of the people in this room, and a lot of people are facing similar problems. So today I'm going to really share with you how to win big in business while not losing yourself, and a way that you can create balance, clarity, and a life that is really meaningful, with meaningful aliveness, and to equip you with the skill set and mindset to combine success and fulfilling purpose in your life, so that you have this purpose, this sense of purpose, deep purpose in your business, and also that you're creating what you love, right? And scaling your business in a way that's not burning you out. If that sounds awesome, please type a yes into the chat. I'd love to see some yeses here for people who are excited about this. Yes, amazing. I love that. So this is going to be like what you said, Walt. This is going to be really interactive. I love to make this a conversation and not like preach up front here. So if you really want to get the most out of the session, be sure to be on your keyboards and type it in, because there's going to be a lot of interactivity here. A client once said to me, "I built the life I always thought that I wanted, and then realized it's not the full picture." That's when we're no longer building only our business. We're actually building ourselves. And this is what today's conversation is going to be about. So the big question is, first of all, who's this for? So if you are a founder, if you're an executive, if you're a scaling entrepreneur, if you're a consultant, if you're an agency owner, this conversation is perfect for you. And I'd love to know from you, how would you describe yourself? I'm really curious, because I've put some names here, but I would love to hear, how do you describe yourself? Put it into the chat. What would you say? Like, what would you say about yourself? Or founder, okay, software company owner, amazing, so good. And this is going to be different. The difference between knowledge and wisdom, and I see some agency owners here, some advocates, some publishers. Why is this going to be different? Because the difference between knowledge and wisdom, knowledge is what you can do with ChatGPT, right? You type in something, he gives you, or she or it gives you information. But wisdom is really lived experience, and lived experience in a way that I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, founders, high net worth individuals, leaders, investors in this world. And this is really carved out to have had massive impact and results in their life. So there's a new way. And I'd love you to invite you to take out your pen and paper and be sure to not miss any of the goodness that I'm going to share today. So really have your pen and paper out. Make sure to write everything down, because there's going to be so much that you can directly implement into your life. And I want to make sure that you get the most out of this. Does that sound good? Awesome. And
Sounds
if you
great to me,
really want
man. Let's
to,
go.
let's go, Walt. Yes. And if you really want to work deeper and really want to explore a deeper sense, I will make sure to also leave my details here in the end. And I would love to hear from you. Would you consider yourself an action taker? And I'm sure that like we're all entrepreneurs, we're agency owners. And if you are, please type in the word action. Type in the word action. Stacy definitely on 3 cups of coffees already at 8 in the morning. She's so ready for action. Yeah, exactly. Mark is, Clay is, Stacy is, Walt is. So good. Awesome. So there are 3 big lies keeping us stuck at a certain point during our entrepreneurial journey. And for me, the first one is if I slow down, I'll lose my edge. And we're going to have like a serious conversation today, as I said in the beginning already. And this is all wisdom from from the last years that I've been experiencing these things. And it's really slowing down isn't losing your edge. It's about sharpening the edge, because an edge or a sword that is running on anxiety, on stress, yeah, only all the time on fear is not really sharp and cannot really cut through most of the things. So this is a big lie that I want to take out in the beginning. The second big lie that really keeps us stuck is I should be able to figure this out on my own. If there's challenges, if there's tough moments. And there's a saying, at the top, it gets lonely. But I want to tell you what, most of the time when I heard the sentence, at the top, it gets lonely, then it points to a sense of, yeah, that we cannot really be vulnerable, that oftentimes we cannot open up and have those hard conversations that might be necessary in order to get to the next level, in order to take the tough decisions, right? And then the third big lie is I'm already well off. Who am I to want more? And there's a lot of guilt around success and a lot of guilt around also impact and maybe even wealth in this world. But let me tell you what, this is your call to greater leadership for all. The world needs your full power. The world needs your full impact and a legacy. And even if you climb your first mountains, it's not ungrateful to want more. It means you're still alive. You're still evolving. And yeah, there's also a breaking point. When you've created a lot of success, then it's also about giving back, right? So this is totally about following a proven formula and doing the things that are really meaningful. And today is also, I will have a workbook with this. There's some reflection question. If you want to dive deeper, just drop in your email into the chat and I will make sure that we'll get you the workbook afterwards. I will definitely have some gems in there so you can reflect on your journey so far and how to move into the next level of your success. And then also there's a special invitation for everybody. And I will make sure to get this out at the end. There's a special invitation, special link, special session for you that I will give out in the end. So what if scaling didn't have to mean sacrificing your health, your joy, your relationships? Who's open to that idea? Type a yes into the chat. And I'm seeing some emails here coming as well for the reflection questions. For sure, drop your email if you want that. Yeah. Clay, definitely. Yeah. Kim, awesome. See some yeses here. Awesome. So you're open to that idea. Well, what I'm assuming is that you're not looking only for scale. You're also looking for clarity, for purpose, and creating a balanced and fulfilling life. Is that true? Well, the reality oftentimes is, as scaling founders, as agency owners, as impact entrepreneurs, is you're always on, you're crazy busy, and you're rarely rested. That's what I'm seeing a lot nowadays, especially with everything moving so fast. And probably success is happening, but you feel exhausted, you feel anxious and a little bit disconnected. You're juggling client demands, team management, lead generation, fulfillment. Mark says 100%. And you rarely take time to pause or reflect and feel like everything depends on you. And you also might be thinking that you'd feel happier and freer by now. So sometimes there's this question of, is this really all? And that's also called like a freedom paralysis. And when we've built a certain level of success and when we scale a business, then all of a sudden we're like, like, is this all? And what's my next chapter here actually? And if you're resonating with that, type in a one. Yeah, definitely. And then what I'm also often seeing is you're feeling lonely at the top. Like there's a lot of kind of people really feeling lonely. And at the dinner table, you're present, but you're not really there with the people that you love. And you feel like you don't have anyone that you can be fully real with. And you think that nobody gets the pressure that you're under. And the opportunity today here, and in this next level of your evolution, is that you wake up feeling energized, balanced, and in control, fueled by the life that you're living. And that you're really lit up by a meaningful impact that you're making in your life. And that you can just be fully yourself and enjoy what you've built. And I love this picture because of the dog is just hanging there. And it's just like dogs don't fulfill expectations, right? They don't feel guilty. They don't worry or doubt. They just are. They don't please others. And they just are themselves. And that's why all the things that are so beautiful, the freeloaders, yeah, those are all the things that are so beautiful coming to them, right? Because they just are. They have an amazing life. So I want you to really be fully yourself and learn strategies and all of that to enjoy what you've built. I would love to hear from you. Why is it important to you to win big without losing yourself right now? Just type in one or two words. I'd love to hear like, what's the general kind of mood here? Why is that so important to you right now? Oh, to be comfortable when the top is calling. That's amazing. Beautiful, Walt. So I didn't start out doing what I love, creating meaningful impact, speaking about the topics that I'm really, really passionate about, while supporting the most incredible heart-led entrepreneurs, leaders, investors. It was an early summer day about 5 years ago. And a few months before, I had just walked away from the wealth tech that I had built. It was a 70-employee company. We had raised 8-figure in funding. And also, I was just about to sell my shares of the event company that I had also built, which is the Europe's largest winter student festival. And everybody thought I was crazy to just walk away, and to just go into the unknown without any real plan what to do about it. But I couldn't stand doing something anymore that wasn't fulfilling me. And even though my whole heart and identity was really tied up in those companies, I couldn't stand it anymore. I was burnt out. And I had numbed myself with excessive partying. I was like partying every weekend, had unconscious sex, lots of alcohol and other vices. And I could feel that I was off path. Like I couldn't really 100% like say, okay, this is why, but I could feel this thing that wasn't right and something felt off. And what I wanted was just a fulfilling career, beautiful relationships, love. And so I had finally taken the scary decision to really exit and leave. And I thought that I would never be unhappy again. Like, right, when you do that, when you walk away and then you think, I will never be unhappy again. I will be always free. Well, it turns out that was the biggest fallacy that I've ever had in my life. And as I was standing there on the summer day 5 years ago on the balcony of a penthouse, I was just thinking like, what am I doing now? Like, what the hell am I doing? What's next? And who are you now without your businesses? And instead of on top of the world, I felt miserable. I didn't have a new direction and I felt guilty because I couldn't enjoy what I had built, and I couldn't enjoy what I was doing. I was still anxious about what to do. And I was waking up in the morning and I was anxious about it. And I had stepped away to create a life that was fully mine, that was fulfilling and created a big impact in this world. And here I was without direction and just drifting. And I wanted to feel energized again, have impact, have a deep sense of purpose. And so I get this phone call from a friend, and he tells me about a coaching program that he'd recommended to do. And it was more like a little bit more spiritual kind of side of coaching program. And I was like, no, I'm not up for this kind of woo-woo stuff usually. But in this moment, I felt so desperate that I just said yes. Have you ever had this when you just knew intuitively that something is right for you and you just follow your intuition, even without running it through an Excel sheet, which wasn't even possible in that moment? But so I just decided it felt right, and I just give it a try. So I started this coaching journey, and at first I'm hesitant. Right time, right place, exactly. And I felt hesitant because I had to face my edges. I had to feel emotions that I had been running away from for years. I had to take tough decisions, like, for example, walking away from certain people that I had been postponing for so long, and letting go of relationships and ideas of myself that weren't aligned. But as the weeks go by, I start feeling calmer. I start feeling more joyful, present. And the things I was scared to let go of actually created so much more lightness and freedom inside of me. And I'm taking bold decisions from conviction. I find so much clarity and a deep meaning. I even created this amazing vision for myself and my life, and a game plan to actually go about it. And so within 6 months, my life completely changed. Completely. From feeling confused and meaningless and unclear to the most alive I had ever felt, fully energized every morning and lit up from what I was doing. And after this experience, I knew that I wanted to support others to do the same, right? I studied all about human evolution. I studied about our nervous system. I took coaching trainings, and now I'm even pioneering, actually with a bunch of Australians. I think, yeah, Johan is Australian. I'm even pioneering the most advanced healing modalities in the world. And I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, founders, and investors. And my biggest revelation was this: mastering your internal state is the most effective path to balance meaningful impact and aliveness. And I want to share with you today the 4 big ideas, because I want to shift up a gear now. I want to share with you the 4 big ideas that will support you in creating it, and that I have gathered over the last years, and they're really gems. And I want to share these with you in order to make one of the most transformational shifts in your life. So bear with me, grab a pen and paper, and let's dive in. So the first one is, what brought you here won't get you there. And there's a certain point in life where we've reached the capacity to make shit happen and making us feel happy. We're just kind of like in this treadmill, right? Like everything like looks the same. It's like, like how can I get to that next level? Anybody feel that sometimes? Anybody feel that sometimes? Put a yes into the chat. And I took this picture. Yes, Clay says yes, Walt says yes for sure. And I took this picture of the rocket, because the same boosters that launch a rocket into orbit must fall away once it's in space. Otherwise, they become dead weight. So the fuel that drove the rocket to orbit must fall away. Otherwise, it's dead weight. And often entrepreneurs and investors, the drive, the hustle, right? The adrenaline are the boosters that get us to a certain point. But to reach a new altitude, you need new fuel. You need joy. You need presence. You need clarity. You need an expansive feeling of calmness. And when we keep going, we just spin in the same discussions. What's next? And we never take real action. We live from the same success paradigms that we have before, only to realize that it's not satisfying us. And we keep on pushing without feeling like we're getting anywhere. Who can relate to that? Like just pushing without getting anywhere. It's so common. And I've seen that so much lately. And because we use models and concepts to make sense of the world. And the problem is that as long as we keep to the same models and concepts in our internal world, nothing will change on the outside, nothing. And as Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. And I want to tell you one of such an important moment in my life, in my reflections after accident I came about. And that was when I was 12 years old and I came home from school and I grew up at this beautiful lake. And it was a summer day. And all I wanted was just to go out and call my two best friends to go and play by the lake and go on a boat. And so I went home, I called them, and they both said no, they have to do homework and then they have to um, help their parents do something in the garden. And so I'm standing there in my house and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have lunch and then go to the lake by myself. So that's what I did. I had lunch, then I went to the lake by myself. And as I stood there on the grass, the sun is shining, I look out on the lake and I see a boat, and the two of them are on the boat together. And my whole system just like shuts down, and I feel small, I feel unworthy, I feel so abandoned and rejected. And in this moment, I declared to myself, like, I'm going to prove to the world how worthy I am of love. And I'm going to prove how worthy I am of belonging and show them, prove to them that I'm great. So, what I realized when reflecting about that was that this has created a lot of success for me. This was my driver, this was my fuel, right? To prove, to show everybody, to show those friends. And I operated from that belief for literally 15 years. And I created the business and I was tremendously successful, but it brought me to a point where I was always on. I was always on. And it was the reason why I couldn't really enjoy the success that I had. And it was the reason that I was reactive, impulsive. And working with hundreds of entrepreneurs, I've seen that there's similar patterns driving a lot of the entrepreneurs. And when they feel stuck, when they don't get to that, to the next level of success, or don't see the purpose in their lives, or lose themselves, then it's often because the fuel that drives them is not sustainable. And oftentimes it's about proving, getting love and appreciation, like a fear of maybe a fear of poverty, running away from something, or just chasing and grasping. And my invitation for you today is to really get clear on what's driving you, right? Like what fuels are driving you. And if those beliefs and stories that you have created in your mind are preventing you from moving forward and stepping into that next level of leadership. So I'd love to hear, if you're open to share, what's the fuel that you've been running on? If something comes to your mind, and I know this is like this is like a tight community, so we can be open about it. We can be vulnerable about it, and love to hear in the chat. Drive to succeed. And is there anything else, like wanting approval, anger, maybe fear, a pain, or a lack of something? So yeah, drive to success we have here. And it's really that science has shown that these patterns that silently run our lives are so deeply ingrained. In fact, by the time we're 35, 95% of our daily behaviors are subconscious. 95%. Yeah, fear for sure. It's all running subconsciously. And only 5% of our behaviors are actually conscious. So over the years, I've observed what needs to happen in order to uncover these limiting drivers, upgrade them to the level of success leadership that serves us and creating the next level in life satisfaction. And lets us create from a place of joy, purpose, fulfillment. And the three pillars, they all cascade together into the expansion state, an operational state of our system of clarity, alignment, and fulfilling freedom. And these three pillars are elevated beliefs and emotions. So that's important because we filter life through beliefs and through emotions. So the right opportunities, people, ideas will show up when our beliefs reflect them, right? When you're angry or when you're in fear, then you will see fear on the outside as well. way more often. Then when you're calm, then you can get the inspiration, right? This is so important. The regulated nervous system is the second pillar. Most of us constantly operate from survival mode or from like the state of stress, agitation. But in order to really tap into intuition, inspiration, we need a calm system where we can actually receive. That's why so often we have great ideas underneath the shower, right? Because all of a sudden our brain gets into alpha state because of the warm water. We just stare, we chill. So we can regulate our nervous system so that we constantly live from that place. And then the third pillar is values aligned action. Action that is in favor of your life and of your fullest potential, and not just being busy, but comes from being your best version every day. And I love to show, this is the expansion state that I was talking about. And I love to show Isa's result here to you guys because it's just phenomenal. And she's amazing. She's an amazing entrepreneur, seasoned entrepreneur, speaker, writer, real estate investor. And she really like, wow, it's awesome. She was running on stress and mental overdrive for decades. She was very good at being productive, being successful, but she was burnt out and she felt like something was missing. And the doing mode actually disconnected her from enjoying her success and being present. And she realized that unless she's willing to create emotional awareness, upgrade her internal system, she's going to stay stuck in overwhelm and unclarity. So she actually used the expansion state method. We worked together for a few months. And after applying this method, she felt like she's created the life that she's always wanted. She created flow between being productive and relaxing. And actually, through the creativity, she 10x'd her revenue per client. Within half a year, she 10x'd her revenue per client from 2.5 grand to 25,000 euros. And she says a relaxed nervous system is the foundation for everything. Business, relationship, health. I used to be always switched on in survival mode. Now I have a great balance. Isn't that awesome? Go on. I love this result, and I love to share her story because it's just amazing what she did. So I would like to turn that back to you. Are the drivers that have brought you to the place you're in now supporting all areas of your life? Just reflect on that a little bit. Yes, amazing. And if you could lead your life and next chapter from an expansion state, how would that feel to you? And I would just love to invite you to drop like one or two feelings that you would connect to that like place of expansion in your life. Like, is it joy? Is it clarity? Is it freeing? Clay says freeing. Awesome. Freedom, peace. Yeah. What else? What are other feelings that you would think you would feel? Fun, amazing, happiness. So good. So the second idea is add life to your days instead of only adding days to the end of your life, right? And this is so important because many of us fall into the trap of I'll be happy when, or I'll try doing this when. And I'll be a better partner when my partner apologizes to me, right? And very few people actually live the life that they truly desire. Why? Because we've been conditioned and patterned to believe how we should operate. So I want to tell you, I was in Barcelona and I had a dinner with an e-commerce entrepreneur. He had 3 big businesses: e-commerce, real estate, and another one I don't remember. And we were sitting there, and that was in the fall of last year. And his ultimate value, he tells me, is freedom. But he tells me everything that he does goes against that. He's constantly escaping from his family and life. And he always feels like on duty. He worries about the futures. He thinks about the past. And he doesn't feel like it's okay to be in the present moment because he always is one or there. So he throws himself into work if the relationship doesn't work. And he throws himself into the relationship if shit is going down in his business. He wants to show his kids what a good and free life looks like. And he wants to be a great husband and father. And he wants to be mentally free. And after our conversation, he finally took the decision to face the situation and break free, to cut out all the things that weren't serving him in his life, and to do the things that he actually enjoyed doing, to feel better and to do the conversations, to have the hard conversations that would free up time, that would free up energy. And so he joined. So, no, he didn't join. He had a truthful conversation with his wife, bring deeper connection. And it's always like that. When we take the decision to change, then life presents us with so many opportunities that we can take, that we can then take. And everything that we do is actually a transaction of time and energy, right? Who do you give your time to? What do you give your time to is so important. Your life is a summary of all the micro decisions you have made in your life. And I would love to hear from you. Like, what is one thing in your life that you know is costing you time and energy, but you don't enjoy doing it? What is one thing in your life that is costing you time and energy and you don't enjoy doing it? Drop it in the comments. And then, are you committed to taking action in this area? Like, are you committed to doing that? Are you committed to taking action in this area? It's so important to, in my life, I'm feeling like the deeper I go and the more I'm kind of like, I'm clear with my values, what I want in my life, the more free I get. And I always love this metaphor of a kindergarten, right? So when you see children play, and you put them out into a field and there's no fence around the field. It's just like a free field. They stick to the center. Who of you has children? Those children, they stick to the center and they don't really go very far. And when you put a fence around the area that they play, then they use the whole area because they feel protected, right? And it's the same with our freedom. It's the same with our freedom. It's really about knowing what are the pillars, the priorities, the values in your life. And then you have this amazing avenue that you can drive on that's just leading you into a beautiful direction. And I call that the life expansion statement. And in order to define this, we can start by having a who's next vision, like who's the next version of yourself? And who are like, what are the next version values of yourself? And this leads to life priorities, like looking holistically at your life and seeing, okay, which priorities in life do you want to actually include, right? Which are the certain areas that you want to prioritize? From that, you can take daily actions. Like all of the priorities, they all come down to daily actions. And those daily actions, they create the habits to support you. And then ultimately, obviously, what we do on a daily basis creates the destiny that we head towards. Now, I have some templates there that I use in my work. Yeah. So I love to give you Vincent's story. He's an amazing e-commerce founder, podcast host. And he had a successful e-commerce business with 8 employees, but was missing passion, aliveness, and excitement. And he was confused about his purpose and next steps in life. He was aimlessly wandering without anything to work towards. He realized he wasn't the best version of himself and not bringing his best to relationship, business, and friends. And he wanted a proven framework and implemented the life expansion statement that I just showed you. And the results were amazing. After intentionally designing his life, he exited his e-commerce business. First of all, he aligned his life with a meaningful mission to support people in his zone of genius. So he found aliveness and joy again. And he created a new agency and podcast that have huge impact. And his second mountain is truly lighting him absolutely up. And I love those frameworks because they can support us so much. And I've looked a lot around for high caliber entrepreneurs like yourself to have amazing frameworks, but I haven't found so many. So I created them. And many different ones, the role evolution framework, the expansion decision framework, expansion state flow formula, and the wheel of expansion. And where it usually starts is really getting clear, like taking an inventory, a holistic inventory of our life. And that's what we do with the Wheel of Expansion. And I'm super happy to share that with you. So you can do that for free. Just drop your email into the comments, and then I'll share you the Wheel of Expansion in an email right after that. So you can just create an inventory and see where you're at in life in the different areas, like inner compass, physical health, mental emotional clarity. How are your intimate relationships and all of that? If you wanna do that, drop your email and I will share that with you. So I'd love to bring that back to you again. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel like you're owning or you own your life right now? I'd love to hear. Just drop it into the comments. On a scale of 1 to 10, on an 8 mark, amazing. Walt is also at an 8, so good. Stacy's in a 9. I mean with the coffee. So good. I love that. Ebony also an 8. And if you were to live life fully on your own terms, how would that feel? Like fully, what would a 10 out of 10 feel like? Just tap into that quickly. What would a 10 out of 10 feel like that? Happy and joyful. Yeah, exactly. So good. So the third big idea that I want to share with you is building what's next requires becoming who's next. And the next level of our life, whatever that vision is, even if there is none yet, right? That's also fine, requires the next level of you. And the big question that my clients often ask me at a certain point is, who am I beyond my business identity and the role that I play? And it's really about getting to know yourself beyond the frames, beyond the roles, beyond the conditions that you have been placed upon. And those roles that we're often stuck in are being the founder. And when you sell your business, or when you come to a point where you think about, should I sell? I think many of you could be there, at least in the entrepreneurs organization talks that I give. There's always like this idea of like, should I sell? Should I stay? Like, what am I doing? Right? Why is this decision so tough? Because it's scary. Because when we sell our business, it's our baby and we don't exist anymore, pretty much, right? Because our identity is often so tied up. Or being the CEO, and when you have a transition out of the company or into a different role, then you don't get invited to the dinner parties anymore. Like, you're not valuable to certain circles anymore. And there's a weight on us to prove to the world that you can make it, right? Many of my clients who have multiple businesses or have walked away say like, I feel like a one-hit wonder. Can I repeat my past wins? And that creates such a performance pressure. And it's often not on clarity that's stopping you from knowing what's next. It's really holding on to that outdated version, that outdated role that you have to transcend in order to move on. So the real name of the game at a certain point is to leave all of this behind and create your who's next identity, the best version of yourself who matches passions, zone of genius, next level of potential. And that might be scary, of course, because it's moving into unknown territory. And this territory is like, for example, dropping those tasks that you know are not yours anymore, or those people where you are not your best version, or those places where you fall into old unsupportive habits, right? These things that are just not working for you anymore, that are more work instead of freedom, or those foods and drinks that make you lethargic. Sometimes we have to step away and we got to let go in order to become who's next. So it's really about getting clear on who's next. And who knows this statue? Who knows the name of the statue? The David, exactly. So good, Stacy. I'm just looking for the word. Classical experts here. So what did Michelangelo say when he created the statue? He said, I created a vision of David in my mind and simply carved away everything that was not David. So it's really about removing the obstacle that prevents our natural expression and expansion. And my big revelation after exiting is removing all outdated behaviors, roles, and commitments from your life is the fastest way to live your most authentic self. So if you could design a life with proven frameworks, what impact would that enable you to make, and how would that feel? Step into that for a moment. How would that feel if you just had like if you would just do that with a proven framework and yeah, just like a proven thing? Free. Yeah, absolutely. And can you decide to become your most alive? Who's next for yourself, the people around you, and the highest calling in the world for today? And your highest calling today. Can you decide to become your most alive? Who's next for yourself, the people around you, and your highest calling today? Drop a yes if you can, for sure. No? Yes. So awesome. Yeah, sure. Yes, for sure. Of course, right? Why wouldn't we? Of course. So the fourth big idea that I want to share with you is follow a fun and proven process. And that's really, I love this cake. It's such a good cake. Um, and I'm not a good baker. So if I wanted to bake this cake, right, I wouldn't just go into I would just go into the supermarket, buy all the ingredients that I think would fit the cake, put them all in a bowl, mix it up, and then put it into the oven. No, I would obviously follow a recipe. Yeah, I should go to the bakery. I love that. So good. I would follow, if I wanted to bake it myself, of course. I would have a list for the grocery shop, and I would then follow a recipe. And if you don't follow a recipe, a process, you feel uncertain, stuck, and results are inconsistent. And if you do follow a proven process and a recipe, there's certainty, there's confidence, the results are consistent, and you can adapt those to your needs. And Christopher Voss said, if you don't know where you're going, distractions will look like opportunities. I love this quote because it's really, there's so much information nowadays, right? There's so much in the world going on. There's so many things trying to tell us, do this, do that, and constantly dragging our attention. So it's so important to know where you're headed. And the three pillars to win big without losing yourself and step into the next chapter of your expansion with clarity and meaningful aliveness are, and I have put them together into expansion journeys for successful entrepreneurs, actually. Sorry, I'm having trouble here with the tech. Are upgrading your mindset and framework. So really looking for like frameworks and mindset shifts that support that next level of your expansion, right? If you want to make changes, or if you feel like some areas of your life are kind of are not fully thriving, then looking for mindset and frameworks in those areas of life. And the second thing, just like the frameworks that I shared earlier, like the wheel of expansion. And then also resilience and expansion states. So really creating a state in your nervous system, in your body, of resilience, of calm confidence, of joy, a regulated nervous system, elevated beliefs, and aligned action that really support your best behaviors. And this creates happiness. If you have the mindsets, you have the calm body, this is just like you're happy, you're joyful. And then the third pillar is really to have structure and vision. So a clear structure and a clear vision for that next level. And this is, for example, represented in the work that I do with the life expansion statement. And structure and vision and resilience give you a direction, a really convincing direction in your life. And structure and the frameworks give you clarity, easeful clarity, right? And this is really what I mean with expansion. And I want to share with you a last story of Christo. He's an exited tech founder. He has 5 new ventures. He has a female founder hub, and he's one of the most innovative entrepreneurs in Europe. He's amazing, from Bulgaria. I had the pleasure to work with him, and he was struggling doing tasks and roles that weren't fulfilling him. And he didn't have a new vision after exit. He felt frustrated and stressed when things didn't work out. He felt anxious about decisions around his future, and also around money, actually, even though there was quite some wealth there. And he wanted to follow a proven system to create balance, resilience, and sustainable success while integrating life and family. Very like a big calling he had. And his results, and we worked together like 9 months. He's found his long-term vision and built a venture studio that is fulfilling him 100%, giving him the opportunity to perform in his zone of genius, secured new funding, and has meaningful impact now. And he says, my relationship with my wife has completely changed for the better. And he says, everything changed. I feel more at ease and more present. I understand that investing in myself is the foundation for every success I have in life and business. It's so amazing. I love this transformation. I love this story, and what's possible. It's so good. So I'd love to hear from you. How would it feel to follow a proven framework that supported your growth, clarity, and next level success? How would it feel? Just type one word into the chat if you have something that's here. How would that feel? Fantastic. Yes, exactly. And if there was a way, amazing, supportive, awesome. Yeah. And if there was a way to balance clarity, if there was a way to balance clarity and creating the life that feels fully aligned with your most expanded self, would that be something you'd make your number one focus? Give me a yes in the comments if that resonates. Yes. So good. Yes, Ebony. Yes, Clay. So good. So let's dive a little bit into the review. And Kim is also absolutely down. So we've covered today my biggest revelation: mastering the internal state you create from is the most effective way to balance meaningful impact and aliveness. We said what brought you here won't get you there. We said add life to your days instead of only adding days to the end of your life. Right? There's a lot of trends on longevity now, and then people are just like not living their lives. And building what's next requires becoming who's next. And I love longevity, by the way. And it's amazing to add life to our days as well. And follow a fun and proven process. So I'd love to hear from you, like, what's been most valuable today from this session so far? Just typing into the comments. What got me here won't get me there. Yes, yeah, Walt, absolutely. That's a killer one. That's a really good one. What else? What's been most valuable for you? I reminded that I need to work on calming my central nervous system. Yes, exactly. So good, Mark. That's really key. Need to focus and be kind to myself. Beautiful, beautiful, Kim. Yeah. Mentioning the nervous system. So good, Clay. Yeah, exactly. So I'd love to open that for a short Q&A. I could take one question because I have I have a special for you that I want to share with you. So I can take one question if there is any.
Feel free to use the raise hand, guys, if you want to ask Matthias something down the bottom there. So use the raise hand if you'd like to unmute. If not, Matthias, you can jump straight in. But that chance to chat to one of the world's leading coaches, not a bad one to take if you've got a question that you'd like to bounce off Matthias. Just use the raise hand down there or drop into the chat. Matthias, thanks, man. It's really introspective. It's often challenging when we have somebody like yourself on the call, and it makes you think about where you're up to and the things that you're fighting for, and the way that fight happens on a daily basis. As Clay said, the balanced nervous system there is something that's often not thought of or not addressed. Yeah, super interesting to bring that into focus, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And I think absolutely, it's really and it's not easy because we're not touching these topics on a daily basis, you know, and I know that it's vulnerable, and it's taken me so much time to talk about like my emotions, for example, or to be able to learn how to feel my emotions, man. Like this is, and it is like it is work, man. It's inner work, you know. And so I hope I made that, you know, light, and that people can actually say like, yes, that's cool, you know, because oftentimes these topics can be a little bit heavy. And I just love it so much because I think it's the foundation for everything that we create in life. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's my deep passion.
Yeah, perfect, man. So
Cool.
Kim's raised her hand there, which would be great. Let's see if we can ask Kim to unmute there. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Matthias.
Hey, Kim.
Okay, you can hear me good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask a question, kind of what you're talking about is that I find that my self-talk within myself, I feel like I'm a positive person. However, I feel on this journey that I'm on with White Label Sweets, my favorite men,
Mm.
that I'm really, my self-talk is, sometimes, and I'm just being transparent here, I can't really do this. This is too hard.
Mm.
But yet I'm not going to quit. But maybe some tips for me on how to self-talk to really, I know that what we tell ourselves we believe. And anyway, I'm just struggling a little bit to kind of feel successful, even though I feel like having gotten this far is pretty successful compared to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could just help me with that little self-talk situation.
Of course, Kim, and thank you for sharing so vulnerably and so honestly. That's means a lot, and I really want to honor that here in the space. And so, th what is coming up in terms of you, like from an emotional perspective? Like, are you frustrated about that? Are you scared? Are you angry? Like, what's going on from an emotional perspective?
Let's see if I can. Kim might have muted
Okay.
again. I'll just, there we go.
Maybe maybe all of the above. I'm not angry. I'm just a little, I guess, tentative. And I know that I have a heart to help people. And so I know that what I have to offer is valuable, but it's getting that confidence and just telling myself you can do it. I mean, that's what I tell myself, I can do it. But maybe is there something like in every morning I should just really have a little chat with myself and say you can do it? Or just some tips from that perspective. I feel like I'm feeling my emotions, but I don't know that my emotions are really being something that's helping me.
Yeah.
I feel a little defeated, but but I'm not going to quit. So that's what I'm kind of struggling with right now.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And so, I mean, we'd have to go a little bit deeper to really uncover what's going on. But the most important thing, the basis of everything is always that everything has to be welcome for you. That everything has to be welcome. So that means that there's probably like several parts inside of you, right? So one part um, is kind of feeling that maybe you're not like that you're struggling with that negative self-talk, right? And then there's probably one part that is angry or frustrated or some that has a feeling about that. So whenever we experience these kind of negative self-talks, it's so important to not just push away and be like, no, 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 I'm gonna get up every morning now and I'm gonna look into the mirror. I'm gonna be like, no, no, like I'm this, okay? But it's more like listening underneath the surface, like what is this self-talk? Like, where is this coming from? And it's probably coming from a very, very young part inside of you. I don't know if you've heard about inner child, for example, like inner child work or something. So oftentimes these negative self-talks, they come because they've never been heard, right? When they were young. And I don't want to blame any parents or whatever, but every human is imperfect, right? So we didn't have perfect parents. So probably there was like a younger part that didn't get the approval for something or the validation, right? And now think it always has to do better. And so it's kind of like interfering into your life and saying you're not doing well, you're not doing well, but it's actually something that wants to be held. Okay, so if you can, and we'd have to go deeper there. You can. I'm just going to drop my number here in the chat, actually, if you guys have more questions, because we need to jump in a couple of minutes. So you can also write me if anything comes up afterwards. But we'd have to kind of like hold these parts. Okay, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Kim? A little bit, like really diving underneath the surface and just like listening to listening to that self-talk just a little bit and be like, it's okay that you're here. And then seeing, okay, what does this self-talk actually need? Like, does it need to be heard? Does it need to be seen? As if you were your own best mother, treating it as like an inner child, you know?
Mm. I love that. Um, hopefully, Kim, that resonated. Matthias, thank you so much for sharing your number there as well. I heard, just in reflection to Kim, I heard somebody say once that be kind to yourself. Like if it was your best friend that was feeling the same way, you would probably listen and be compassionate and understanding. And yet we don't do that with ourselves. We tend to blame and we tend to be angry with ourselves when we're feeling that way. Like being your own best friend, being kind to yourself when you're feeling that stuff is super, super important. So Matthias, thank you so much, guys. And I know, Matthias, you had something that you wanted to offer to the group. I know that a couple had to jump out, but they'll be catching up on the replay. That number's there in the chat. That's a hugely kind offer to jump in with.
Of course.
Did you want to take us out,
Yeah.
man? There's a couple of minutes just to
Yeah,
wrap
for
up.
sure. 100%. Yeah, just wanted to share that for everybody who wants to resonate. And I saw a couple of comments already in the chat. That's why I wanted to share that. Is really for those who authentically resonate in a series about feeling more alive, fulfilled, creating a meaningful impact that they're longing for. I have the QR code for this wheel of expansion that I shared. And on the next slide, then you can just like get like an overview of your life, and then also book a 45-minute evolutionary legacy session for everybody who wants to do that. And what's actually the special is that I have like there's the higher investment, and I've applied some discounts for all participants that are here in the call today till Sunday evening, if you want to do that.
That's really great.
Just as
Thank you,
this
man.
collaborations. Yeah.
Fantastic. So there's a QR code there, and guys, if you want to jump in, there's some great opportunities to work with Matthias and get access to some of those frameworks, etc. So that's really cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. So guys, grab a screenshot of the QR code, or shoot that with your camera on the phone and head on over. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, Walt. And yeah, it's been such a wonderful pleasure here. I really loved speaking with all of you, and thank you for the dynamic session. And you guys are awesome, like so on fire, so in it. So really cool to speak for White Label Suits. Yeah, amazing.
Awesome.
Had so much fun.
Thank you so much, man. Guys, give it up for Matthias in the chat. Let him feel some love coming back from us as well. Man, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending the time and for sharing your story as well, and going through some of those, I guess, roadblocks that people can work with on their way to creating that freedom and success for themselves, which is, of course, what we're here for with White Label Suite. Guys, thank you so much for jumping in. Of course, our weekly training calls, same time, same place next week. We'll be covering some new stuff in the software and helping people, again, with that success and expansion, more on a technical standpoint next week. So jump on in at the same time. Of course, our support team are always there to help and guide anything that you need. Support.whitelabelsuite.com, and of course, jump in the community, the Facebook group. Let us know that you're there and how we can help and assist. Thank you so much, Matthias Schmitt, for jumping in and sharing some wisdom with us. Guys, that QR code up on the screen right now, you can jump in and find out how to work with Matthias and see if you can unlock some of those doors that you might have felt have been closed for you moving forward. Guys, thank you so much. We will look forward to seeing you on our next call. And in the meantime, stay well, stay happy, and let's go and get it.
And just one more thing. Just one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's, as I said, like, because we had to keep the Q&A a little bit shorter today, just really feel free to jump into the, like, I don't have text, just WhatsApp, ask me a question if you like to. That's totally fine with me.
That's amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me,
guys.
Walt.
Let's go. Let's have a great week. Be kind to yourself. We'll see you soon. Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.